Why does the man who signed the biggest contract in sports history, the only athlete who truly transcends his sport on a global scale, Shohei Ohtani, admit to being totally looked down upon by his rookie teammates, particularly Yoshinobu Yamamoto? Is this a genuine sign of a fractured locker room dynamic, or is this bizarre revelation the key to unlocking the true source of relentless, unburdened power that fuels the greatest athletic mind we have ever seen?
We promised you a secret, one that cuts through the media hype and the statistical noise. And today, 618 Radar is cracking the code on the emotional landscape of a phenomenon. Welcome to 618 Radar, the only frequency that can penetrate the emotional armor of baseball's biggest stars. Today, we're not tracking 100-mile-per-hour fastballs or 500-foot bombs. We are tracking the bizarre, beautiful, and utterly revolutionary way Ohtani allows himself to be treated as just another guy, a slightly older friend, someone whose presence doesn't require genuflection, but rather playful, aggressive normalization. When the NHK special aired, showing Ohtani's candid interview where he confessed, "Basically, they are two guys who look down on me, especially Yoshinobu," the entire baseball world paused. For anyone watching from the outside, the immediate reaction is confusion, maybe even outrage. How can the $700 million man, the dual-threat unicorn, be treated so lightly by a younger player? We have established rituals of respect, the senpai-kohai dynamic, especially within Japanese culture. But Ohtani himself dismantled that hierarchy with a smile, almost bragging about the slight. This isn't a flaw in the system. This is the system working exactly as Ohtani needs it to. As one longtime Japanese sports commentator, who we'll call Mr. Izumi, noted, "It sounds like locker room chaos, but I call it psychological genius."
Ohtani is purposefully breaking the pedestal he was placed on. The most telling part of that confession wasn't the claim of being looked down on, but Ohtani's foundational statement that allows for this dynamic: "I don't want to lose the root part of me that sees baseball as a hobby." This is the core argument, the thesis that defines Ohtani's dominance. The man who has accomplished everything insists on maintaining the mindset of the amateur. We are talking about a physical specimen who holds a 1.77 career ERA in Japan and is a two-time MVP in America, yet he clings to the word hobby like a life raft. Why is that word so crucial? Because viewing baseball as a professional calling, or worse, life's purpose, introduces debilitating psychological variables: fear of failure, the pressure of legacy, and the need for external validation. Dr. Kaito, a sports psychologist known for working with elite athletes in Asia, once explained the phenomenon this way. When an activity transitions from a hobby to a career, studies show 85% of peak performers see a measurable drop in intrinsic motivation within 3 years. The job becomes defined by KPIs, not joy. Ohtani's genius is that he has mentally insulated the activity from the consequences of the career. He gets paid $700 million to pursue his favorite pastime. This isn't just about fun. It's about accessing an unburdened flow state unavailable to anyone shackled by expectation. When Ohtani steps into the batter's box, he isn't thinking, "I must justify the contract." He's thinking, "Let's see how far I can hit this ball, just for the hell of it." Now, many critics, especially those in the legacy sports media, would jump in right here and offer the inevitable counter-argument. It's easy to call it a hobby when you have unparalleled talent. This is just Ohtani masking a lack of genuine professional dedication. They would argue that the word hobby implies relaxation, less effort, and an amateurish approach, but that completely misses the psychological firepower Ohtani wields. He doesn't lack dedication. His dedication is simply pure, driven solely by love, which makes it far more terrifyingly efficient than dedication driven by obligation. Legendary scout and now analyst Coach Tanaka puts it succinctly: "The rest of the league practices. Ohtani plays. He is not driven by the fear of losing his job. He is driven by the sheer, insatiable desire to see what new, impossible thing he can achieve tomorrow. You can force a professional to put in 5 hours. You cannot stop a hobbyist from putting in 15. This brings us back to Yamamoto and the disrespect. The most glaring example was Yamamoto's audacity to leave his dog Dekopin with Ohtani for 3 weeks while he returned to Japan. Think about this. The most valuable athlete in the world, the face of the Dodgers, is reduced to a high-paid, unpaid dog sitter. This is the climax of the narrative, the moment the mask completely drops. Yamamoto didn't see the icon. He saw the older brother who he knew, deep down, would relish the mundane, normalizing responsibility of taking care of a pet. This act of disrespect, this assumption of familiarity and trust, is precisely what Ohtani needs to survive the global pressure cooker. Being forced to care for Dekopin, to worry about feeding times and walks, means Ohtani has to turn off the part of his brain dedicated to being Shohei Ohtani, baseball deity. It grounds him. In fact, the revelation that Yamamoto often doesn't even watch Ohtani's milestone home runs or talks to him casually using less formal language isn't a slight, it's a therapeutic intervention. If everyone around Ohtani treats him like a fragile, perfect artifact, the pressure to maintain that perfection becomes insurmountable. But if your newest, highest-paid teammate treats you like a slightly lame older sibling he can crash with and exploit for free pet care, you are suddenly just a person. And that is the plot twist. Ohtani craves this normalization. His confession about being looked down upon wasn't a complaint. It was a proud acknowledgement that he has found 2 people, 2 of the few people on Earth who allow him to just be a baseball player who loves the game, unburdened by the crushing $700 million mythology. When he said he was happy they treated him this way, he wasn't being polite, he was confirming his competitive secret. He has achieved world domination by refusing to treat his mission like work. This whole revelation forces us to redefine what truly motivates a champion. Is the secret to sustained dominance found not in relentless seriousness, but in joyous, playful disregard for the pressure? If you agree this changes everything about how we view elite performance, hit that like button, share this incredible insight across your social platforms, and subscribe to 618 Radar for more deep dives into the psychology of athletic greatness. And tell us in the comments below, what is the most shocking piece of disrespect Yamamoto could show Ohtani that would still make Ohtani smile?